Discarded secret revealed: how a maid's daughter transformed a billionaire's son's life in 30 days. In the heart of suburban Seattle, where the majestic mountains towered like guardians of both dreams and despair, 16-year-old Clara lived a life distinct from the shimmer of opulence that her classmates bathed in. Although it was easy for her classmates to flaunt their privilege with sleek cars and designer clothes, Clara found her worth in the laughter of her mother, the warmth of their small home, and the community's solidarity among those who persevered through struggles. She felt invisible, a shadow among the brighter lights. One brisk morning, while folding laundry, Clara overheard her mother on the phone, discussing yet another charity event. "We need this money for the kids, Clara. Every penny counts." Her mother's voice cracked, yet each word radiated resilience. The air was thick with dreams and urgency. Clara felt inspired. She had to help out, to speak up for those who couldn't. The inevitable gala was just days away. As Clara prepared for the charity event wearing her best second-hand dress, nervous excitement bubbled within her. She'd practiced her speech 100 times on scrap paper, her heart racing with every word she wrote. She imagined the glitz of the downtown venue a sharp contrast to her life, yet Clara was determined to let her voice shine through. Inside the hall, golden chandeliers glimmered overhead. It felt surreal. As she took the stage, her heart raced. Suddenly, the room faded away, and all she could hear were her own thoughts. This was her moment. Standing before an audience cloaked in affluence, Clara poured her soul into words, explaining not just her aspirations of becoming a nurse, but advocating for the children that didn't have a voice. In that moment, she saw Jake, his stark blue suit a stark contrast with his disheveled hair and troubled eyes. Clara didn't expect to catch the gaze of a billionaire's son, but the wonder in his expression shocked her. He listened so intently, she felt the walls of social divide crumble. After the speech, he approached her, genuine curiosity etched on his face. "Hey, I'm Jake," he said, extending his hand. Clara could feel the weight of his world pressing down on his shoulders, a burden she couldn't quite understand. Clara. The warmth of his handshake made her heart flutter. As they spoke under the city's gleaming lights, an unlikely friendship ignited, leading to shared dreams and laughter, feeling alive in each other's company. Clara encouraged Jake to explore his capacity for change. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue." But the world was not ready for their connection. Clara harbored a family secret, an aching truth, something that could change everything between them. Just as she started to contemplate sharing it, Jake's father intervened. He saw Clara's influence as a danger, pushing Jake back into his painful mold of privilege. With hearts racing, Clara stood on the edge, her fears threatening to spill over. Would she reveal her truth? And would Jake choose a life fashioned by genuine connections over the suffocating expectations of wealth? The moment stretched, as both faced the uncertain chasm between them. Would they leap together? Or would they be pulled back by the very circumstances that had brought them together? The answer hovered, heavy in the air, waiting to unfold. Clara stared at Jake, her heart pounding with the weight of her truth. Should she lay it all bare? Should she risk everything for a connection that felt as fragile as glass? The glamour of the room faded, and in its place was just them, caught in a whirlwind of unspoken words and fears. "Clara," Jake began, his voice slightly trembling, "do you ever think, what if this is more than just a charity event? What if we can actually do something meaningful together?" There was a sincerity in his gaze that made her heart swell but also ache. Together? The word hung in the air, both a hope and a question. Clara wanted to say yes. She wanted to dream of a future where they could push against the boundaries that held them captive. But her family secret was like a shadow lurking in the corner. It could ruin everything. "Yeah," he continued, his eyes searching hers, unaware of the storm inside her. You made me see things differently tonight. I've been suffocating in my dad's world. I don't want to just inherit his wealth and sit around. I want to make a change. Clara felt the walls she had built around her heart begin to crack. I believe in that too, Jake. But her voice trembled. The moment of truth felt too heavy to bear. But what? His eyes narrowed in concern, the lines on his forehead deepening. I'm just a Maid'S daughter, she said, a bitter taste in her mouth. And my life has always felt separate from people like you. My mom and we struggle. I don't belong in your world. The words tumbled out, raw and unrefined, but they felt liberating too. Why does that matter? He challenged, a faint fire igniting in his expression. You're incredible, Clara. You inspired me. Let us do something together, break boundaries. You don't have to hide who you are. I can't. She shook her head, tears threatening to spill. If you really knew what I was hiding, you would think differently. Suddenly, the silver-haired silhouette of Jake's father appeared, cutting through their moment like a knife. Jake! He called out, a sharp edge to his voice. We need to leave now. Jake's face morphed instantly, tension radiating from his stance. Just a second, Dad, he replied, frustration seeping through. The easy charm he wore faded, replaced by a defensive posture Clara recognized all too well. Do as I say, his father's tone brooked no argument. The crack of authority in his voice sent a chill through the air, and for a moment, Clara felt like she was watching a shadow of the boy she had just opened up to. Jake clenched his jaw, conflicted. I'll be there in a minute. Now, Jake. The command hung heavy, reverberating in the room. Clara's heart sank. She was a fleeting moment in his world, a whisper in the deafening chaos of his family expectations. As Jake turned back to her, desperation flickering in his eyes, they shared a moment suspended in time. Clara longed to reach out, to pull him back into their shared dream. But before she could say anything, Jake's father stepped forward, his presence suffocating. I'll call you, Jake promised, but Clara knew the likelihood of that promise being kept seemed dimmer by the second. She forced a fragile smile, watching as Jake strode away, turning back once more. The warring emotions on his face mirrored the turmoil in her heart. She lost him to the fast pace of wealth, the unyielding grip of expectations. Left in the glittering but empty hall, Clara felt small and powerless. What had begun as a connection blossoming into hope was now tied up in the harsh reality of their lives. Would she ever find the courage to reveal her truth? What remained unsaid lingered like a haunting melody. A flickering thought struck her: if their connection mattered, she might have to find a way to confront her fears. To reach out. But how? And would Jake ever truly understand her world? As she watched the guests swirl around her, laughter echoing off the walls, Clara took a deep breath. The night wasn't over. Not yet. There had to be a way for their threads to entwine again, despite the societal chasm between them. Determined, Clara set her sights on the exit, her heart still in turmoil. If she could take that step, perhaps they could build a bridge rather than a chasm. But would Jake's destiny still be bound to his father's? What would it take for them to unite? The night loomed heavy with unanswered questions, and as Clara stepped out into the cool, night air, she couldn't shake the feeling that the biggest reckoning was yet to come. Would they defy their worlds, or would they succumb to the forces pulling them apart? Clara stepped out into the crisp night, the damp air filling her lungs as she tried to shake off the heaviness of the evening. Her heart felt like a tambourine, a wild rhythm that didn't match the serenity of the stars overhead. She could hear laughter and chatter filtering through the grand entrance behind her, but it felt like the echoes of another world, one that she wasn't meant to belong to. Determination took hold as she moved toward her mom's tiny apartment. Each step led her further from the glitter of the gala and closer to her reality. The sidewalks were slick under her shoes, reflecting the street lamps like little pools of light, but no sparkle could cure the ache inside her. What was she afraid of? Was it Jake's lofty expectations or the truth that threatened to tear her apart? In a flurry of thoughts, she pictured Jake's face, the depth of his eyes when he spoke about change, about hope. And her own words a mix of fear and doubt. Why couldn't she just step into the light? She held on to her mother's struggles like a lifeline, convinced that exposing her truth was akin to unraveling the few threads keeping them afloat. It felt selfish to want more when they constantly scraped by. As she reached her building, she paused, glancing up at the window of their second-floor apartment. A warm glow spilled from inside, and she could see her mom in the kitchen, stirring something in a pot. The scent of spices wafted through the air, mingling with the cool night. Her love, her unwavering support, this was Clara's anchor. With a sigh, she climbed the creaky stairs, reminding herself of the sacrifices they had made, the long nights, the dreams suspended like her ambitions. Steeling herself, she pushed open the door. "Clara, is that you?" her mom called, looking up with a smile that brightened the room. "You're home late. How was the event?" Clara forced a smile, wrapping her arms around her mom. "It was good. Just long." In that moment, she wished she could share the truth about the connection she felt with Jake. But the words refused to surface. There was something innate between them that she feared could fray everything if she opened her mouth. Instead, she changed the subject, helping her mom plate dinner while feelings of guilt washed over her. Later, as they ate, Clara noticed her mom's eyes, sparkling with pride despite the struggles. "You've come so far, Clara. I used to dream of nights like this for you." The sincerity in her tone warmed Clara's heart, but it also stirred the unease deep inside. "What if I want more? What if I want to do something amazing?" She hesitated, the voice of fear creeping in. "But what if my past holds me back?" "Honey," her mom said, gently placing her hand on Clara's. "No matter what, remember that your worth isn't defined by where you come from. You deserve to chase your dreams." Taken aback, Clara met her mother's gaze. The weight of those words lingered, swirling hopes that had been silenced for too long. For the first time, she felt the flicker of courage rise within her. Maybe her worth wasn't defined by her background, but by her choices and aspirations. Later that night, when her mom went to bed, Clara couldn't shake the feeling that she needed to reach out to restore the thread that connected her to Jake. Her phone lay silent on the table. The promise he had made echoed in her mind. But as she picked it up, doubt washed over her. Was she making the right choice? Could they really bridge the gap? Her thumb hovered over the screen, hesitating. What would she say? What could she say to risk the chance of feeling heartbreak again? Closing her eyes, she took a deep breath, steeling her resolve. It wouldn't be easy. But she had to try. Her heart raced as the door opened to new possibilities. Just as she began typing a message, the phone rang, startling her. It was Jake. The words filled her lungs as she answered. Would this be the start of something new, or would it reveal the fears she had tried so hard to ignore? "Clara?" Jake's voice came through, full of urgency and warmth. "We need to talk and—" Suddenly, the world felt like it shifted beneath her. What would this conversation reveal? Would it be the chance for understanding, or another twist to their already complicated lives? Clara's breath hitched at Jake's words. A rush of anxiety surged through her, an electric current dancing along her arms. "Talk?" she echoed, her voice barely above a whisper. Panic gnawed at her insides like a persistent hunger. Was this what she wanted? To face all the unspoken truths swirling between them? "Yes, please," he said, his voice laced with concern. "Can I come over?" She glanced at the clock, the late hour weighing heavily on her shoulders. But this was Jake, the one who had shown her a spark of reality. The one who made her question if she could dare to hope for more. Somehow, she knew she couldn't back down now. "Okay. I'll wait." As she hung up, her heart raced with uncertainty and a flicker of excitement. In a whirlwind, she tidied the apartment, straightening cushions and wiping down surfaces, trying to distract herself from what was coming. The whole time, her thoughts spiraled. What would they talk about? Did he sense her hesitations? Would he ask her what she really wanted? When the doorbell rang, Clara's pulse quickened. She opened the door to find Jake standing there, his expression a mix of apprehension and determination. The light from the hallway haloed around him, highlighting the sharp angles of his face. He seemed different, somehow more vulnerable than she remembered. "Hey," he said, offering a shaky smile. "Hey." Unsure how to bridge the gap, she stepped aside, allowing him in. The space felt electric, charged with all the words left unsaid. "Can I sit?" he asked, motioning toward the worn-out couch. She nodded, settling into the armchair across from him. Silence stretched, thick and heavy. Clara could feel the tension rippling in the air between them, a taut string ready to snap. Finally, Jake broke it. "Clara, I've been thinking a lot about us." "Us?" Her curiosity piqued, she leaned forward, struggling to keep her voice steady. "What do you mean?" Jake ran a hand through his hair, a gesture she had come to recognize as a sign of his nerves. "I want to know you really know you. Not just the Clara who goes to fancy events, but the one who has had to fight for everything." The weight of his words settled over her like a warm blanket, but it also made her heart ache. "It's complicated," she murmured, her defenses rising. The truth of her life felt too messy to explain, too raw to lay bare. His eyes softened. "I get it. But I need you to trust me. I want to be there for you, accept all of you, not just the easy parts." Clara's thoughts spun in circles. Trust. That was what this came down to. Did she have the courage to stand in the light and reveal her past? Could he accept the scars that came with it? "You have to know," she started slowly, "my life isn't like yours. I've been at the bottom, struggling with my mom, trying to build something." She hesitated, biting her lip. "I don't want to drag you into that. I want to be there," he insisted, his voice rising with intensity. "You don't have to carry this alone." Tears prickled at the corners of her eyes. It was hard to believe anyone might truly want to share that weight. "But what if I can't be the person you expect?" Jake leaned closer, his gaze piercing through her doubts. "You're the person I want, Clara. Not who I expect you to be." The sincerity in his tone reached deep into her heart, stirring feelings she had buried for so long. Could she accept help? Could she let someone else in? In that vulnerable moment, Clara realized this was her chance not just to connect with Jake, but to finally acknowledge her own worth. She took a deep breath, feeling the tremors fade as she prepared to unfold the truth about her life. But just as she opened her mouth, a loud knock startled them both. It was a sound that interrupted the warmth of their moment, slamming against the fragile connection they were building. Clara's heart dropped. Who could that be at this hour? "Clara?" A familiar voice called from the other side of the door. It was Ben, her childhood friend turned unexpected mentor, and she knew he wouldn't just go away. What was he doing here? Would he be catalyst or complication? Would he help her break free or draw her back into the shadows she'd been clawing to escape? The tension snapped back as uncertainty swept over her once again. "I'll be right back," Clara said, rising to answer the door, her mind racing with what was at stake. Would she find the strength to move forward, or would her past come crashing down at just the right moment? Clara hesitated at the door, her heart pounding against her ribcage. She had spent so many years burying her past, and now it felt like it was about to explode in her face. Jake's presence behind her was a grounding force, but Ben's voice pierced through her newfound courage like a cold wind. "Clara?" Ben's tone was laced with concern, and a flicker of guilt flashed through her. She had pushed him aside to chase dreams that felt impossible, and now he was on her doorstep when she least expected it. "Just a sec," she called back, turning to glimpse Jake's nervous face. His eyes seemed to question her readiness to let the world in. She swallowed hard, steadying herself for whatever might come next. With each step toward the door, Clara felt the weight of her past, the whispers of doubt tugging at the edge of her mind. She opened the door, and there stood Ben, wearing a worried frown that faded into relief upon seeing her. "Hey! You okay?" he asked, eyes darting behind her to catch a glimpse of Jake. "Yeah, just can't talk right now." Clara forced a smile, praying it looked real. "What brings you here?" Ben shuffled his feet, clearly uncertain. "I was working late and thought I'd check in. I haven't heard from you in a while." His concern felt suffocating, yet familiar, a reminder of countless late-night chats when they both sought comfort in shared struggles. I'm fine. Just, sorting things out. Ben's gaze turned serious. Clara, look, I know things have been hard for you. You don't have to pretend with me. She sighed. I'm not pretending, Ben. Just it's complicated. Can we talk later? This was the moment she knew she had to claim. She could feel Jake's presence, strong and steady, how he cradled the energy between them in the room. He wasn't just a distraction, he was an anchor. Ben stepped closer, his eyes searching hers. Clara, whatever's going on can't just be brushed aside. You know I'm here for you, right? The sincerity in his voice made her heart ache. Yet another person in her life offering support made her skin feel tight, as if every layer of protection she had built was starting to crack. I really appreciate it, but right now just trust me, she said softly, a squeeze of hope breaking through her unease. I don't like this, he muttered under his breath, concern etched on his face. You're not alone anymore. You don't have to. Clara raised her hand, a signal to pause. I'll reach out, okay? I promise. The pause felt heavy before Ben took a deep breath and stepped back. All right, just take care of yourself. As he walked away, Clara closed the door, leaning against it for support. She turned around to find Jake watching her, tension still lingering between them. What was that about? He asked, his voice low, filled with curiosity and concern. She walked back to the couch, feeling the invisible weight of her walls. Just usual worries from an old friend, Clara replied, trying to dismiss it. But it felt hypocritical. She couldn't shake the feeling that Ben would always be her lifeline, and here she was trying to pull away. Do you want to talk about it? Jake's quiet inquiry felt sincere, but Clara hesitated. She had already stepped back once, and the connection they had fostered was still fragile. I don't even know where to start, she said, sitting down slowly. Let me help, Jake urged. His eyes locked onto hers with a warmth she hadn't expected, and Clara felt heat rising in her cheeks. Okay, she breathed out, the tension transforming into something new, something hopeful. But just as she was about to take that leap, another knock echoed through the room, breaking the stillness once more. This time, it felt heavier than before, as if fate was intent on dragging her back into the shadows. Clara's heart raced again, the uncertainty flooding her as she glanced at Jake. What now? Let us find out, he said, and together they braced themselves for whatever or whoever awaited beyond the doorway. Would this interruption steal her moment of truth, or could it be the push she needed to break free from her past? Clara took a deep breath, her mind racing. She exchanged a fleeting look with Jake, the unspoken bond between them crackling with tension. The knock echoed again, insistent and bold. She felt her stomach twist. She wasn't ready for whatever was about to come through the door. Are you sure you want to open this? Jake asked, urgency in his tone, his gaze still locked on hers. There was something in his eyes that made her pause, but the knock came once more, startling her. It shook her resolve. What if it's someone who can help? She breathed, almost to herself. With tentative hands she grasped the doorknob, hesitating for a brief moment before pulling it open. The sight before her stole the breath from her lungs. Standing on the other side was her mother, face drawn and eyes wide, like she had just stumbled through a race against time. Clara? She gasped. Mom? Clara barely recognized her own voice as it slipped out, shaky and raw. She felt a whirlwind of emotions, confusion, anger, and beneath it all, that old, familiar twinge of guilt. Before Clara could say another word, her mother swept in, enveloping her in a warm yet desperate embrace. Oh, Clara. I've been looking everywhere for you. I need to talk. Her voice broke, revealing a chink in the armor she had worn all these years. Jake stepped back slightly, allowing the moment to unfold but keeping his presence nearby as a comfort. Clara squeezed her eyes shut, suppressing a tidal wave of memories that threatened to drown her. What's going on? Clara finally managed, trying to keep her own voice steady. You can't just show up like this without warning. Her mother pulled back slightly, searching her face. There isn't much time. I made some mistakes, Clara. You need to know the truth. Her mother's voice was low and urgent, laced with a worry Clara couldn't ignore. What truth? The question slipped out before Clara could rein it in. Her mother glanced toward Jake, awareness dawning on her. I'm sorry. We really need to speak privately. This isn't something I can say in front of others. Clara felt her pulse quicken. You can't just show up after all these years and expect me to. Her voice trailed off, vulnerability emerging like a crack in a dam, threatening to wash away the carefully built walls around her heart. No, Clara, please. You don't understand. People are looking for me. Her mother's eyes glistened with unshed tears. It involves your father. The mention of her father sent a jolt through Clara. It felt like a hook had snagged onto the past she had wanted to leave behind. What do you mean? What are you talking about? Her mother took a deep breath and started to explain, the urgency in her voice intertwined with fear and desperation. They're not who you think they are. I needed to protect you from all of this. But now it's going to come crashing down. Clara felt ice flood her veins. The past felt like it was spewing into the present with no intention to let go. What are you saying? The words felt foreign on her tongue, laced with disbelief and growing dread. As her mother began to speak, Clara's gaze flicked to Jake, who stood silently by, an observer but also a reassuring anchor. She wasn't sure if he understood the gravity of the situation, but she could see a hint of alarm flickering in his expression. What are you hiding from me? Clara demanded, feelings of betrayal surfacing. All these years, and now you just waltz back in. And Clara, please. You have to trust me, her mother said, her voice urgent, almost frantic, but Clara felt her walls shattering, and the ground beneath her shift. This was the moment when everything could change, for better or for worse. Trust? How am I supposed to trust after all this time? You left me. The words erupted before she could stop them, anger spilling over. They were taken from me. Her mother's reply was a mix of pleading and desperation, but the revelation hung in the air like a dark storm cloud. Clara gripped the door frame, balancing on the edge of reality and heartbreak. The fear gnawed at her. What do you mean? But the truth was a fragile thing, and Clara could feel it swirling around them like a tempest, threatening to expose secrets she had buried deep inside. As her mother's mouth opened to reveal what had been lost and hidden for so long, Clara's heart thundered in her chest. Would this truth be her salvation or her ruin? She stepped back, the weight of the moment pressing down on her. I don't know if I'm ready for this, she whispered, and just as the words left her mouth, another knock rattled against the door, sending tremors of uncertainty through her. This time, the echo of fate felt ominous. Who else could it be? Jake murmured, eyes wide as they both turned toward the door. A new wave of anxiety surged through Clara, making her pulse race. What awaited them beyond that door could change everything or worsen the storm they were already caught in. Would she be able to face the next truth that awaited her, or would it be the final blow that broke her? Clara's heart raced, a thunderous drumbeat echoing in the confines of her chest. She stared at the door, half expecting the next knock to be the end of everything she thought she knew. Something inside her shifted, a deep-rooted instinct whispering for her to flee, yet her feet felt anchored to the floor. Should we answer it? Jake's voice was low, cutting through the thick tension in the air. But what lay behind that door? Clara swallowed hard. Was it more revelations? More chaos? Or perhaps someone or something that would shatter her world for good? Mom, what's going on? Clara whispered, her voice barely a cadence in the charged atmosphere. She could feel her mother's gaze on her, searching once again, but Clara didn't care to look back. There's no more time, her mother insisted, her voice trembling as she ran her hands over Clara's shoulders like she was memorizing the contours of her daughter. You need to be ready for what's about to happen. They'll come, and I need you to trust me. Trust? Clara scoffed, bitterness lacing her tone as she finally turned her gaze to her mother. You don't understand the meaning of that word. A tear slipped down her mother's cheek, and for a moment, the past seemed to intertwine with the present. It was a fragile moment, and Clara was determined to cling to it. But before she could reply, the door rattled again. "Who's there?" Jake called, stepping closer to the door, instinctively protective. Clara hated that she felt the need for protection. Her entire life had revolved around not needing saving. But her mother's sudden reappearance ignited that old feeling, the one that twisted like a knife in her gut. "I shouldn't have come back." "Not like this," her mother stammered, panic lacing her features. "But I had to." "You deserve the truth." The energy in the room shifted, the air thick with anticipation as another stamp echoed against the door. Clara's mind raced at the thought of all the secrets hidden away in the corners of her past, and how they could burst forth all at once. Before she could gather her thoughts, her mother gripped her hands tightly, her fingers cool against Clara's skin. "Promise me. No matter what you hear, don't lose hope. You're stronger than you think." Clara's breath caught. Strength? Hope? The words were like shards of glass cutting through her fragile understanding of the world. "You expect me to stand strong after everything? You left me. You abandoned me. And now you come back with some disastrous truth?" The urgency in her mother's eyes ramped up the emotion swirling between them. "I was trying to protect you. Protect you from them. But I didn't realize how tangled it would all get." "What do you mean?" Clara's voice dropped, the fight leaking away as confusion took hold. Her mother's words were heavy with implications, each syllable weighing on her heart. Another knock shattered the moment, louder this time, each thud a drumbeat of dread. "Stay here," Jake instructed softly, his presence solid against her turmoil. He approached the door, tension coiling in his posture. The glimmer of something fiercely protective shone in his eyes, and Clara wanted to believe in that, to find solace in him. As he reached for the knob, all Clara could do was watch, caught between the old pain of betrayal and the new burden of trust. Would this next person be a friend or a foe? Clara's breath hitched as she shot a glance at her mother. Did she truly understand the depths of this moment? Jake pushed the door open, revealing a shadowy figure standing in the dim light. Clara's heart raced, each beat a countdown to whatever awaited them. Would she be able to face another layer of deception? She wasn't sure if she could bear it if this were a graver threat than she already imagined. The figure shifted, and for an agonizing heartbeat, clarity slipped through her fingers like a fragile wisp of smoke. "Can I help you?" Jake asked cautiously, stepping one foot forward while Clara held her breath. As the figure stepped into the light, Clara felt another jolt course through her veins. Another decision loomed ahead, and it could change everything. Clara's eyes widened as the figure stepped into the room, revealing a familiar face framed by unruly dark hair. It was Leo, the boy next door. Growing up, their friendship had been a refuge from the chaos that often consumed their lives. But this was no longer the child she once laughed and played with. The years had hardened him, deepening his features and darkening his gaze. "Leo?" Her voice trembled, a mix of surprise and disbelief. 1,000 childhood memories cut through her fog of anger and betrayal, but that spark of nostalgia quickly dimmed under the weight of the situation. "Clara," he replied evenly, his voice steady but laced with an underlying tension. "I didn't expect to find you here." Jake shifted beside her, his protectiveness re-emerging. "What do you want?" The question hung heavy in the air, filled with the kind of poised tension one could slice with a knife. Leo glanced at Jake, a flicker of recognition igniting the air between them. "I didn't come to fight," he said, raising his hands in a placating gesture. "I came to help." "Help?" Clara echoed, her voice tinged with skepticism. "How could you help me, Leo? You don't know anything about this mess." "I know more than you think." He hesitated, eyes darting briefly to Clara's mother, who stood with an unreadable expression, her face a mask of worry. "Your mom brought me here because we're running out of time." Clara felt a pit form in her stomach. The tension had transformed into a whirlpool of uncertainty. "Running out of time? What are you talking about? Remember how you always wanted to escape this place? Well, it's more than just the walls that are holding you back. The truth is, they're coming for you. They already know you're here." What do you mean? Who's they? Clara's heart raced again, each pulse echoing the dread washing over her. They're the ones who want to keep secrets buried. They've been watching your family for years, Leo replied, his tone serious. I don't have all the details, but I know you're in serious danger. Clara's mind spiraled back to her mother's warnings, the frantic energy in the room, and now Leo's urgent words. Could it really be true? She felt dizzy, the ground beneath her shaking. And you're just here now? After all these years? Because I care. Because I always have. The sincerity in Leo's voice cut through the noise. Her breath hitched again. Clara grappled with an onslaught of emotions: betrayal, confusion, and a flicker of something unexpected. A sense of hope that maybe not everything was lost. I thought I could protect you from the truth, her mother said, breaking the silence. But hiding won't save us. We need to confront this. Clara steeled herself, the weight of her past clashing with the urgency of her present. What do we do? First, we have to figure out what they want, Leo said. And then, we need to uncover the secrets surrounding your family. Clara glanced at her mother, the distance between them narrowing. For the first time, something resembling trust flickered in her heart. Okay, she finally said, her voice steadier. Let us dig deeper. But I need to know everything, no more secrets. Leo nodded, determination flooding his features. Then we'll start now. Clara felt the air in the room shift again, the resonant thudding of her heart echoing in rhythm with the resolve taking root inside her. They were on the brink of something monumental, the threads of their lives intertwining once more, and there was a palpable energy of change in the air. But just as optimism began to bloom, a sharp knock rang out, this time accompanied by a deep voice that sent ice down Clara's spine. Open up! We know you're in there! Fear surged anew, flooding her senses. Who were these people, and what did they want? As the urgency escalated, Clara could feel the boundaries of her reality precariously shifting, leaving her wondering if she would ever truly be safe again. Her moment of fragile hope teetered on the edge. What was about to break open? The thought was both exhilarating and terrifying. Could their fight against time be the answer to her salvation, or would it lead to her ultimate downfall? Clara froze, heart pounding in her chest. The authoritative voice echoed like thunder, each knock rattling the very frame of her home. It felt surreal, a cacophony drowning out the storm of emotions swirling inside her. Who are they? She whispered, her voice barely audible. Jake gripped her arm tighter, eyes darting toward the door, ready to shield her from whatever was waiting outside. Leo took a step forward, the determination in his eyes hardening. We don't have much time. If they know you're here, we need to be smart about this. What do we do? Clara's mind raced, grappling with the magnitude of the situation. She had always felt safe within these walls, but now they felt like a cage closing in on her. Stay quiet, Leo instructed, pulse sharp and commanding. We have to find a way out of here. They're likely looking for you, and if they find us, the knock sounded again, louder this time, followed by the ominous creak of floorboards. Clara's mother stepped forward, her face pinched with worry. I'll distract them. You three find a way out the back. Mom Clara started to protest, but the look on her mother's face silenced her. There was strength there, a fierce determination to protect her family that Clara had known all her life. No arguments. You all need to get away from here, her mother said firmly, glancing at Leo. You know what to do. Clara drew in a breath, feeling the sudden swell of emotions slam into her. Her mother was putting everything on the line, and it reignited the flicker of trust she'd begun to feel toward the woman who had kept her life so meticulously guarded. As Clara moved toward the back door, Leo turned to her. We'll get through this, I promise. His words were a lifeline, but doubt and fear clutched at her heart. How could they trust anything could go smoothly with the threat lurking in the shadows? The door rattled beneath another heavy bang, raising the stakes to a new fever pitch. Clara took a step back as the sound of heavy boots approached, and she could see Jake's jaw clenching, trying to remain the stoic shield she needed. With a nod from her mother, they slipped through the back door and into the cool night, the weight of urgency pressing on them like a leaden cloak. The dim light of the moon barely illuminated their path, but that was the least of Clara's worries. Where to now? She breathed, the chill of night mixing with the heat of adrenaline coursing through her veins. We need to get to the woods, Leo said, urgency propelling him forward despite the risk. We'll go deep and lose them. As they hurried into the shadows of the trees, the reality of their situation began to sink in. Every rustle of leaves, every snap of a branch, sent her heart racing. The fear of being caught clawed at her. Clara? A muffled voice echoed from the house behind them, her mother's. It was a warning, a reminder that they were not safe yet. Keep moving, Jake urged, pulling her along. But Clara hesitated. A sinking feeling grew in her stomach. Her mother was standing between them and a world they didn't understand yet. What if this was the last time she'd ever see her? The ache of possibility cut deep, reshuffling her priorities in an instant. Wait! She cried, pulling free from Jake's grip, heart pounding as she turned back toward the house. Clara, don't! Leo started, but she was already sprinting back, legs driven by desperation. She skidded to a halt at the edge of the yard, her heart in her throat. The door was still ajar, darkness swallowing the light inside. She could hear voices now, muffled conversations she couldn't quite make out. Breathless and terrified, Clara felt the shadows encroaching. The uncertainty gnawed at her thoughts. Could she really put trust in Leo and Jake? Or had the web of secrets just begun to unravel? Time was running out, but she didn't just want to run. She wanted answers. With a deep breath, she pushed through the door and stepped into a world of chaos. What awaited her inside would change everything. Clara stepped into the chaos, heart racing with purpose and fear. The room was a storm of whispers and urgency. Her mother's voice rose above the noise, filled with fierce desperation. You can't take her away from me. She deserves to know the truth. Clara's feet moved instinctively toward her mother, the years of tumultuous emotions flooding back. Standing there, between the sharp edges of a past that wrapped thickly around her heart, and the shadows looming just outside, she felt fierce resolve surge within her. Mom! Clara shouted, cutting through the tension like a warm blade. What is happening? What is this truth? Her voice trembled, amplifying the intensity of the moment. Eyes turned toward her, shock mixed with a dash of relief flaring in the air. Her mother faced her, with tears glistening like diamonds against the backdrop of the dim light. Clara, I'm sorry for everything. My past, your father, it's complicated. They want our family tied to secrets too dark to fathom. What secrets? Who wants us? Memory cascaded in a whirlwind, and Clara felt the walls of her life start to sway. People from your father's past, Leo interjected, stepping slightly forward. They've been hunting your family. And your mom? He hesitated, looking back at her, the sorrow in his eyes echoing the weight of his words. She made sacrifices. The kind that put you both in danger. The air crackled tight, every heartbeat intensifying, yet Clara felt a spark ignite within. No more secrets, she declared, her voice steady. I don't care about the past. I care about us, the two of you. Whatever it takes, I'll face it. Clara, her mother whispered, disbelief shimmering in her gaze. Mom, let us confront these shadows together. If we are a family, then we'll fight for the truth, for us. Tears streamed down her cheeks, each droplet a manifestation of years of bottled-up emotion and resolve. The voices outside became distant as they watched her, a storm of hope brewing around the trio. Jake, standing in the doorway, gazed silently, a mixture of admiration and determination etched into his features. He took a step closer, anchoring her resolve. We'll figure this out, he said, voice low yet unwavering. Together. Clara looked at Jake, feeling the warmth of his presence wrap around her like a shield. It didn't matter that they came from different worlds. The bond they shared was stronger than any societal divide. Her mother nodded, finally revealing the vulnerable face of responsibility and sacrifice. You're right, Clara. We've been running away from the past for too long. But you must know, confronting it won't be easy. I'm ready, Clara insisted, the fire in her heart igniting her spirit. Let us face whatever comes. We're all we have. Suddenly, the door rattled violently. Open up! We know you're in there. The voice was louder now, sharp and threatening, sending adrenaline coursing through Clara's veins. Her mother nodded towards the back door. Leo, you lead them out. Clara, stay close by me. Wait. Clara grasped for a moment. What about Jake? I'll stay, Jake replied, stepping firmly beside her. They want answers. I won't let anything happen to you. Fear and resolve battled within Clara's chest, but she no longer felt alone. They were a team, bound together by their choices, ready to face the darkness. Mom, we need to leave. Now. With a nod, Clara's mother took her hand, strong and firm. Leo unlocked the back door, and urgency filled their steps as they moved swiftly. Each heartbeat pulsed through the air, an anthem of courage that spurred them forward. As they stepped outside, Clara felt the cool night air fill her lungs. The soft rustle of trees surrounded them like a symphony of possibilities. She was no longer a Maid'S daughter afraid of the shadows. She was Clara, a fighter, pushing against the current of fate. Together, they disappeared into the enveloping darkness of the woods, each footstep a pledge to confront the hidden truths, armed with determination and the fierce love of a family bound by more than blood. And as they moved forward, Clara felt her heart soar. Ready to uncover the mysteries of their past, destined to reshape their future, side by side. This was just the beginning. Subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and show your love for this content. Comment below your reactions and feelings about this emotional ending. And share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this incredible transformation. It's the moment to show your support. Don't wait not even one more second.